I know something about every single one of you in this room. I know that all of you are experts at making choices. You're great at it. I mean, you made 100 choices before you got here today. You chose what to eat, what to wear, what route to take, all the things that you needed to do. You're also leaders. Everybody here is a leader, which means that you are also good at helping other people to make choices. You use influence around the area of ideas to help people to make those choices. Now, I'm going to tell you that as most of these conferences have, there's this idea that we can change the world if we just help one single person. Is it true? I think it's true. But I would also say that can you change it in a little way, or are you going to change it in a transformational way? Are you going to wind up leaving a remarkable path? And if you're going to do that, you have to help large groups of people, large organizations to make big choices. Those big choices lead to big changes. Deepak Chopra talks about the fact that our life is really just the summation of all of the choices that we've made, and that in each of those choices was the opportunity for a change. I want to discuss what is your ability to make change happen out in the world, inside of people, inside of your foundation, inside of your church, your school, a hospital, inside of your business or the businesses with which you work. Because your first set of choices, the primary set of choice that you make and help other people to make is actually really small. It's the most important one, but it's small. And that's the ability for people to care. You help people to care. We use renderings of the wing of the next hospital. We use diagrams and three-dimensional modelings of the church that we're going to build. We use pictures of the children who have been sick and then saved. We use images of horror around all of the events that happen in weather to then get people to care. And that will make an opportunity for a relatively small choice. The kind of choice that allows you to give a couple of dollars out of your pocket to the homeless man that you would have spent on coffee. Those are small choices, and they're based on why. But I'm going to tell you, to make big choices, you have to help people to make 3 other choices after the choice to care. Now, I'm an expert in helping people make choices. That's all I do. I help people to make big choices, hard choices, and to help them to make them fast. I'm a salesman. That's what our job is to do. We help people to make choices. I've helped people to make $5.2 billion in purchase choices. But I'm also a fundraiser. I've helped raise over $100 million in venture capital for organizations that are either starting up or expanding. And I'm also a fundraiser for charities, for the groups that I volunteer with to help them in their capital campaigns to raise millions of dollars to make change in the world. So I know a lot about choices. You're all good at why. Let me tell you the other 3 choices you have to get good at if you want to make transformational change in the world. The first choice you have to help people to make is the choice of now. The default position for anyone when offered the opportunity to make a large choice is to delay. It is our delay position. And instead of saying we have to do it this moment, we say, can I do it later? Interestingly, I've had an opportunity to work in an industry called healthcare. I've been working with clients in the healthcare industry over the course of the last about 3 years. And this is an industry that changes at a glacial pace. This group moves slowly. But in the last 3 years, a transformational change happened. 80% 3 years ago of the medical practices were privately owned, and only 20% were owned by carriers or hospitals. The balance of what's left in the marketplace will have reversed in the next 20 months. Only 20% of the marketplace will be privately held, and 80% will be owned by hospitals or carriers. How did that choice of now accelerate? The reason people make the decision to care, you already know how to influence. But the reason to make them move now is not about how great the success could be, but what is the penalty for not moving? The healthcare industry moved because it saw an enormous penalty for not transforming itself and not changing. And that's why marketing campaigns, fundraising campaigns, capital campaigns oftentimes fail. They die on the vine. Time kills all deals. And when there is no penalty for waiting, people will wait indefinitely. As you start to sharpen your skills for helping people to make choices, help them to figure out what's the penalty for not making a choice now. The second choice that people need to be led to understand is the choice of, do I believe this will work? Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation donated over $3 billion for the eradication of malaria. Now, that's a number that's pretty hard for most of us to fathom. They could have given $3 million, $30 million, $300 million. Why did they give $3 billion? If you want to make big changes, you have to have big choices. And one of the choices is the confidence that you believe it will work. See, the Gates Foundation could have given $3 or $30 or $300 million, but what pushed them over the edge was a step-by-step plan that said, this will work. The research, the data, the roadmap that said, if we do this in this way, in this order, we can eradicate malaria around the world. If you want to get organizations and people, whether they are companies or churches or hospitals or foundations, to make big commitments, big choices for big changes, you're going to have to show them a roadmap that it absolutely is going to work. The third choice you've got to get people to make is the choice that they can live with the choice that they just made. Let me say that again. Can they live with the choice that they just made? Most people don't understand that there is a permanent dialogue going on in the minds of the people to whom we are communicating. That dialogue is really future forecasting in their mind of a conversation they're going to have with someone else after they've made the choice. Maybe it's a spouse, a family member, a community member, a politician. Maybe they see themselves in front of a committee or a subcommittee testifying and being asked uncomfortable conversations. Why did you give that money? Why did you write that check? Why did you buy that system? What gave you confidence to make that decision? You could have given that money somewhere else. You could have done that with someone else. You could have picked another company. They are challenged. They are accused. They are facing that. And all the entire time, it's not showing on their face. This conversation is going on in the back of their mind, and they're saying to themselves, how will I prove later on, when someone else is around, that I made the right choice? I led a sales team to land a $250 million piece of business when I was running about a $35 million company. At the time, we were $35 million in size, landing a 3-year contract worth $250 million. We went from a large group of people that were in the presentation, and then it got down to a smaller group of people in the process, and then it finally got down to the finalists and the final presentation. And we won the business. Later on, I had a chance to interview a couple of the decision makers over a couple of drinks, which seemed to help with their authenticity. I showed up authentic. I really was curious. But they were willing to be a little bit more sharing. And I said, why did we win? And they both started laughing, and they looked at each other, and they said, you didn't win. You lost. We kept you in the process to the very end because we knew you were a smaller company, and we would wind up getting all sorts of great ideas, and we could wind up grinding down the service level agreement with the company we were going to really award it to. I said, well, I got the deal, so what happened? They said, it was the last meeting. The last meeting. You went up, and your team went up and put on the board every question that you thought we would be asked internally and externally as to why you were selected, and you gave us an answer. At the end of that presentation, we had all of the arguments of why your company could deliver compared to the much, much bigger company that we didn't choose. See, we always liked you. We always wanted to work with you. We always thought you were innovative and creative. We always understood your magic. But the risk was too big. And we didn't think we could live with the criticism and the questions and the critique after the deal was done. Out in the world, you can make small choices, and they will make small changes. If you are going to help large organizations, foundations, big donors, large bodies of people to make difficult choices, bigger choices, transformational choices, you have to help them past the why. Do I believe that, and do I care? Into, we should do it now. It's going to work, and we can live with the choice after we've made it. It's a simple challenge. The question is not whether you're going to help people make choices. You're doing it every day. The question is, are you armed and ready to help people make big choices to make big change? Thank you.